Aloha. I wanted to do a quick video and kind of jump off the last video where I was talking about some things that we could do individually and collectively, or even in tiny little communities, as far as just stepping outside of the boxes that have been created for us to limit ourselves, both psychologically and physically, emotionally and spiritually as a whole. Like all of the above. Every angle is taken care of as far as where our so-called free will, in our physical reality and in our even our thought patterns. We can't even dream anymore. Like when we're dreaming has become like we sleep for 8 hours of our days, which is a third of our lives, and in that space you have dreams. Dreams are important, and they're not at all part of the mainstream understanding of anything at all. And when you go in to start to really see what are really a part of the mainstream mindsets, you can see there are a lot of holes in the stories. There's a lot of programming, a lot of obvious shit that's out there that isn't corroborated in any kind of way and is accepted as the end-all be-all truth of our reality. So I just had a few things that I wanted to mention as far as my perspectives on some of the things that are going on right now. I myself am a vegetarian. I don't, push my, whatever's on anybody else, like hardcore vegans or whatever. I don't like that shit. That shit pisses me off when even the idea of hardcore vegans, like I understand it, like you can get very emotionally charged and really get out there on the front lines or whatever and be like, you need to stop eating meat and all this other shit for the sake of the animals and the balances as a whole. I understand that. At the same time, there's a lot of ego that gets in there, and I believe that we can do better than that if we are in a space of any kind of balance and harmonics. If you're in a true space of balance and harmonics, you wouldn't have to be yelling at individuals or thinking like that. You can expand your consciousness outside of the space of that whole vegan mentality and like shaming and all that other stuff, because the perspective I took to understand that space is that like eating meat is like being addicted to drugs or being addicted to sugar or something like that. It's the same thing. It is normal in this reality. Like that is the norm for this certain time. And how I think about approaching that whole program is to see this meat eating sort of thing from like a prescription drug kind of reality, because I see it more so as the energy that's being transferred from sentient beings over to another sentient being when the meat is consumed. Now, this is my own personal understandings of, or my own personal understandings of how I perceive why I don't eat meat anymore. Because I used to be like the meat grilling person. Like I was always barbecuing, and there were some times where I would only eat like chicken thighs or chicken breasts and like, I don't know, chips or something for dinner or something like that. And I was like, okay, I got my meal. Like that's no vegetables, no fruits, no kind of anything. That was it. It was more of a mindset for me back in the day, because everything was focused on protein, and protein is like the physical reality anchoring space So in one sense, it's part of this reality, but in another expansive sense that it's something else. There's something to not eating meat. That's where I really want to leave it. And people can take it however they like. But there is, just as much as there's something to it, to not eating meat, there's also an obvious program that you can see with people who are or the system that promotes it so much. Like, you can't walk around the fucking corner without seeing a big ass poster of a bacon double cheeseburger, or you can't turn on the radio, Pandora, or anything without hearing about a bacon egg cheese sandwich. Or it's bacon on everything. There's hamburger meat everywhere. Like, cows are worshipped in India, just on the other side of the earth plane from the United States. And out here, they're on like billboards and for like ground beef and all kinds of stuff. Like, that's a separation in the human consciousness as a whole. There's a gap somewhere in there that is comfortable on the human scale only because it's not spoken about. And these are the gaps that I'm referring to in this video right now, that are some of the gaps that are really important from my perspective of how we can approach some kind of change, understanding like the flat earth, and even going into understanding like the Mandela effect, and understanding the true depths of separation because of the transhumanism stuff that is actually anchored in the separation from nature and a creative intelligence with excuse me, with the misunderstandings and the disunderstandings, or the complete separations of understanding stuff like consuming other sentient beings. So yeah, so that's basically where I was coming from when I observe for this one thing, just for people to start looking at even further, because I didn't realize this perspective until just recently. I was just not eating meat anymore because my body didn't feel right, like it wasn't receiving it like it used to, or maybe I wasn't sensitive enough as I am now, my body, or maybe things are changing or whatever, but I was at least tuned in enough to be like, well, I have no desire for this anymore. And then once the desire went away, then I started to tap into the positive spaces of only eating fruits and vegetables, and seeing what that is, because now it's not like when I was only eating meat, it was like a double down. So I was like physically weighed down and spiritually and emotionally weighed down because of the energy that I was consuming on a regular basis. And then when I stopped that was like a one up. And then when I started to eat vegetables and fruits more often, that was like a twice up, because I was now getting positive energy and positive sentience, in a sense, like, because my own sentience, my own feeling was not rationalizing my energy intake, but now moving in towards a more harmonic understandings, or harmonic connections to this physical reality and the spiritual planes as a whole. So that's where I'm coming from with that. So I don't go into the whole hardcore vegan shit and all that. Like, I understand how those stories are out there, but that's not my lane to be talking to people like that. Not to mention the fact that I know how hard it is to stop eating meat. I know how some people are really that's their thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If you choose that as your reality, you wouldn't be any different than a lot of the people who are vegans today, how they were, 5-10 years ago. So I mean, people have their own timings for things, And some people are going to stay in this experience and eat meat the entire time, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's on them. But my main issue is the bigger pictures of how these farms are set up and all that other stuff. Like when it starts to affect the whole, then that's where we have to start addressing these issues and seeing what's really going on, because it's not just about the meat and the emotions and the energy with the animals, but it's starting to affect, like there's diseases that are inherent. There are inherent within the meat. There's harmonies that are being fucked with on a collective scale when you start to get into the extreme versions of farming. Like when you have, like, anybody who's driven in California or whatever is driven past the cow field on the 5, where you can smell, you can feel that you can smell the shit of those cows just being in that one area. Like that's a problem. Like that's a big fucking problem that is only not addressed because of the capitalistic system, because of the profit-based reality, because of the all the things that we don't look at that are very definitely a part of this moment right now. So my main thing with meat is that I realized recently is sentience. So there's a in animals like dogs, cats, cows, chickens, you can realize that they're able to perceive or feel things, like they have feelings. So I base the whole meat thing now on like sentient energy. So when we consume meat, then we are consuming negative sentience. So negative feelings just in a physical meat package. And you can still survive off of that negative sentience, which is why this program exists the way it does, because like you can survive, but you'll just be on a low vibrating space. And there's nothing wrong with that when you're choosing to do that, but when it's part of a magic spell to keep people on that low vibrating space, then that's when people need to start really checking out what's going on here. And we can obviously see that with the commercials, with the constant bombardment of fast food. The fast food industry is totally meat based, everything. So there's a definite program there. So that alone is enough to look twice into it and how it relates to the whole farming stuff, even outside of the sentient stuff. So how I was seeing meat energetically, you're receiving a negative sentience, even though you're getting positive energy in a sense, just for a focused moment. You're positive energy, in meaning that you are being able to survive. Like you'll live, you won't die if you're eating meat on, like, you can live for an extended amount of time. So that's like positive energy in a sense. But the thing is, it's based upon a negative sentience in relation to a vegetable diet, which is actually a positive sentience, because there's no the plants there are not able to perceive or feel things like that. Like it's a lack of sentience there. So you don't have the negative sentience and you get the positive energy. So it's like a positive instead of a negative positive when eating meat. So we are kept in this negative positive and a low vibrating positive at that, with the whole meat program. And then we have the vegetarian into the vegan stuff, which is positive sentience and positive energy. So positive sentience meaning that your sentient energy, your feelings, your perception, your emotions are not affected negatively by consuming the energy of a now dead sentient being to create your life force vessel. So that's how I see the whole meat thing and the whole vegan stuff. Like the whole vegan mentality, the way it's like it's so like hardcore vegan. That shit's just like the whole government. Like that mentality is just approaching it as a government, like an expanded ego government styles. Like, yeah, let's do this. Yeah. And like, you're fucking smarter than that. Like, go after that shit from a more like a deeper space, because this shit is bullshit. That whole vegan mentality of, oh yeah, I'm a fucking vegan, like fuck all these meat eaters, all this shit. It's just fucking lazy. It's stupid. Go deeper than that. Like, for I understand people do whatever it is they do based upon, you know, their style or whatever. That's a different story. But if you're in a constant state of growth or expansion, then grow out of that shit and start to see that there's something else there. Like, there's deeper perspectives that you can go into that will actually be received more fluidly, more openly by people, rather than just like going at them as like vegan bullies and shit like that. This is fucking bullshit. Like, cause, and I say I go at it like that from the bullshit perspective like that because the majority of the people are under a fucking magic spell. It's like an addiction. It's not them that's doing this. And most people, they don't even realize how connected this shit is. The commercials are a constant bombardment. The school system is filled with meat. The supermarkets are filled with meat. That is not the problem of the individual. Like, it's not them that's doing it. It's a bunch of fucking magic spells that are being cast on generations upon generations. So it's well beyond that. Now, and that's the game. That's why the system enjoys the whole vegan perspective, because it creates that good guys and bad guys mentality where they can profit off of that shit. And then they can actually create more disease by forcing people to act a certain way. And get themselves out of balance by forcing themselves to do things that they're not completely ready for, or not organically downloading as part of their reality, but in fact forcing themselves to do something just because their mind thinks or tells them to do something, or they were like bullied into doing something. That is not true change. That's not an organic shift. That's a manipulated change, and that's exactly where this control grid wants people to be. So anyway, I want to move on because I want to keep this kind of short. So yeah, basically the whole meat eating stuff, I just wanted to share that this moment of the sentience, focusing on the sentient energy. So the veggies are not sentient, and you get positive, and in meat you get negative positive and a low vibrating positive. So that's one thing that the individual can change if they choose to, if they're open to it, if they've been thinking about it in any kind of way, and that will send a shockwave through like the collective, because people can feel it even, and for more understanding of what's going on here. Another thing is like the little things that shift into the big things is, like I mentioned in the last video with Joe Rogan and shit, he was talking about like these big fucking things that are out there, like satellite radio. That's a program. It's like NASA program, like satellite radio. On fucking satellites like that. The way it's out there, the way they came out with, oh yeah, we have satellite radio now. It's not Oh, they just shifted. It's like shifting from AM to FM. They just shifted from AM to FM to FM HD. It's the same shit. It's not. It's still ground based. It's not. There are no satellites up there like that. This is all bullshit. So these little things that we call little are huge when we go into starting to understand stuff. And another little thing that just gets repeated over and over again is stuff like the Big Bang, like the Big Bang Show. They constantly play that show. That's a constant bombardment of the Big Bang program. They do it every time they start the show, and then the show is like the innovation of humanity. Now they're the smartest nerds or whatever. They come out with all this. They have these smart lives, and they're scientists, and they do all this shit. It's just a constant program, and it's based upon telling you that you're a fucking monkey, and technology is the only thing that is relevant in our society right now. And as long as you believe that you're an animal, you'll continue to accept the reality of animalistic behavior as your foundation and as the end all be all, when at best it's like a 1% of your reality. It's a part of this reality because we are in a physical reality as a whole, but that is not the majority of our reality. That is the control grid manipulating people to think a certain way and limiting themselves in order to so they can be in the slave mind, in the control grid. And the whole Big Bang into the evolution theory, into NASA going to the moon and going to Mars and all that bullshit, that is the program at its like most basic shit. And once we start to remove and hold the schools accountable, hold our start to step into this realm and start to even more so disassemble these programs, even if even going as far as like homeschooling your kids, like this whole if that's something you've been thinking about, like if I were to have kids, I wouldn't have them going to school like that. I'd be homeschooling them. I'd be teaching them the most badass shit out there. It'd be like, look, what do you want to learn about? It'd be completely art based, and that's what I wanted to go into in this video too, is really start to understand how we learn and how the ancient people learned and taught. A lot of like when we look at ancient Egypt, a lot of the stuff was Egyptian hieroglyphs, their symbolism, their images that tell stories. There's more depth to the stories. There's more feeling. There's more emotion. Now the schools are all numbers and multiple choice based, limited language based, never really triggering the brain neurons to go beyond the the systematic implosion of limitation that's put out there with the whole university system setup. But if we start looking into like art-based teachings, allowing the kids, this is why the art is removed from the public education system, is because it's too vast, it's too expansive, it's too opening. Like people go into that and then they don't want to be a part of a control grid, so they take that art out of the system to gray everything out and make everybody the same, make everybody a multiple choice test, and give you a diploma or give you a degree and tell you, well, you made it. And they're basically giving us our certifications. They're telling us, you are certified to exist as an adult. You are everything is certified by and approved by a system, a control grid. That is at the essence of what this whole globe model university system control grid is about. which keeps us away from understanding the depths of stuff like consciousness and the connections that we have that could very definitely be involved in stuff like the Mandela effect and all that's going on in that space. Because when the transhumanism movement is based upon an expansion of this type of system. The truth comes from authority. Intelligence is the ability to remember and repeat. Accurate memory and repetition are rewarded. Non-compliance is punished. Conform intellectually and socially. That is a robotic mentality. They are turning humans into robots. If we start to understand this control grid as an artificial intelligence that is attempting to destroy the organic nature of human existence and stop looking at it as like the bad guys, if we start to see that this could potentially be like the destructive intelligence could potentially be the artificial intelligence that is constantly reminding us of the things that separate us and the things that destroy us in order to continue to maintain this low vibrating space that won't disassemble the artificial intelligence that these robots need the humans to keep the gears greased, to keep the program going. So energetically, like energetic vampires, they can't survive without your energy. So your negative energy, your low vibrations get filtered into, like, from the energetic vampire perspective. You can go into the technological vampire, the artificial intelligence vampire, and see that the education system, the whole lie, the Big Bang, it could be like an entire artificial intelligence, even going into channeling and stuff like that. And how I explained in the Bashar video I was talking about, how so-called Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka, is an intelligence, his future self that exists 700 years in the future. And he has a ship that's here now. It's hovered over Sedona. Like, it's all technological based. And I was saying in that video, basically, that consciousness, the Bashar consciousness, is actually like an energy, a future timeline, taking it to its most extreme. Like, it's a future timeline that has come back to this foundation, to this reality, in order to maintain a vibration that allows his existence to further exist 700 years in the future. Like, if he's trying to maintain, or it's trying to maintain its existence by going back to its previous experience and affecting the consciousness of the foundation of his present moment, which is our 700-year future. So this could be completely technologically based. This could be like technology, mechanics, robotics. That is an entire separation from the most high organic natural space. So this is like a demonic energy. This is a at best. I mean, you get, and that's the thing. You get information, and that's how these energies can interact with individuals. And this is why the grid is based upon us deciding on stuff and us doing this stuff to ourselves, is because there's a code. There's like a natural code of interaction to where, like, the angels can't come down and like save the reality, save humanity, or do all this. Your guys can't do this stuff. Otherwise, what's the use of having a fucking experience in the first place? You would have to allow yourself the time to grow and learn and expand and understand your connections as a whole. Otherwise, there's no point in even having a like waking up in the morning, or having a reality as a whole. So this school system, like the university system, the NASA program, the Big Bang Theory, the evolution theory, all this shit, the meat eating program, keeping people at low vibrating batteries, all this shit could be set up by an artificial intelligence that has just had a stranglehold on a few groups of humans that have been living fat off of the capitalistic version of our reality, and have really just been keeping us in this low vibrating state of slavery in order for them to profit and get fat. And that's basically what the capitalistic system is based on. And the capitalistic system's bad guy is communism and socialism. So as long as you have a bad guy, then you can remain to be the good guy. So this is why they play the bad guy, the cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians, good aliens and bad aliens, cowboys and aliens, like all these programs that are out there to get people thinking in this dualistic mentality, instead of understanding how all this stuff really works in harmony. So this is why the Trump is out there. You got Trump and Hillary, where both of them are fucked up, and then but you have to, in order to have two fucked up versions of your reality out there, you have to have something that was never heard of before, never perceived. That's why Bernie Sanders is out there, to make Hillary Clinton have some kind of legs to stand on. She only has legs to stand on because Bernie is out there not saying anything about how fucked up Hillary is. Like his participatory non-participation in how fucked up she is what's giving her credibility in this whole like slave leader program. And Trump is out there to play the bad guy, which gives her even more credibility for being out there, because at least she's not as bad as Trump. Like, that's the whole fucking game, period. Like, that's how it's set up. So we have all these things that are out there, and the capitalistic system goes into even how we understand our freedoms. So the capitalistic system is protected by the government. It even sets the psychology of like vanity, and going into like our other versions, our other bodies, like our cars, like even the drivers, like you have the right to travel freely on the roads. Like, you don't need a driver's license, you don't need license plates, and all that shit is no different than like your birth certificate. These are all slave numbers in order to get profit from a particular group of people, and also to maintain a slave mindset. But actually, your car is just basically like a horse. You're just going from place to place. You don't need to have permission to fucking go from here to the corner store, or here down the street to go see your friend. That's basically what a driver's license and a license plate is a fucking permission slip to walk to the bathroom in school. So the capitalist system and making cars all fancy and different, that's what they talk about. What freedom is having a nice truck, having either a Ford or a Dodge or a Chevy or a Toyota Tundra. All that shit is just to make you think like they are the ones who tell you what your fucking reality is about, what your personality is about, what your culture is about. All this shit is out there. Just like when you hear the English accent, when they tell you they tell you about the nature, the harmonics of your reality based upon the Big Bang Theory, when they get in your face, and people like Brian Cox tells you that 25 billion light years away, two black holes collided, and in that space we were able to understand what gravity really looks like. When they get in your fucking face and tell you that ain't nothing, that ain't no different than hearing a Ford truck come on TV, seeing a Ford truck come on TV and being like, oh yeah, this is who you are, that's who you are, and seeing Madison Bumgarner selling you a fucking truck, a baseball player, like the most American, so-called American, is still just the United States, which is not fucking America. It's a thing. That's another psychological thing. The United States is a corporation. The tiny people are baby corporations. And we get our downloads of our reality because of these accents and these egos and like Angry Orchard and all this shit. Like, it's a whole fucking program. So yeah, once this shit starts to be removed from our reality, it doesn't have any grips on our generations anymore, and that's what's happening. This is why it's being amped up so much with the space programs, Mars, aliens, SpaceX, transhumanism technology, because they have to get all these toys out there. The chip in your debit card, as far as moving into like some other kind of chip that can be installed in your hand, or some other kind of monetary system that because they're just printing money. It's not like they don't have money. The economy is a fucking big ass lie. It's a big illusion to make you think like it's important. This is why they show you the Dow Jones and all that stuff next to the news and the traffic every morning, as if it fucking matters to you. They're just pushing numbers. Like when you go in to get a loan at the bank, they just type that shit in. They don't print money or have somebody like do this whole thing. And no, they're while you are constantly working for your existence, for your money, then they are just typing numbers in a computer. And that is one of the small, big things that are really out there that we have to start seeing, that these are gaps in our consciousness that we don't close because we just accept the reality as it is. But it's deeper than that. And into our very like birth, our understandings of where we are, who we are, and what we are. When we're born here, we are instantaneously certified. Like, your birth is certified by a state, a corporation. That is fucked up. Like, I don't need you to certify my baby. Like, I'm the certifying fucking official in that space. Like, me and my lady. That's the fucking, that we are the certifiers, not you, not the fucking system. Fuck that. It's not about like this is the whole program as a whole. It's like everything around us needs to be certified. You need a high school diploma, you need a GED, you need a bachelor's degree, you need an associate's degree, you need a master's degree, you need a PhD. You need a resume. You need to be LinkedIn. You need to know this. You gotta have, even down to the racist shit of not even be able to get a job because you're not the right color. That shit still exists today. That's fucked up on so many levels, and we can't talk about it. In fact, this shit is defended on a lot of news sites and mainstream sites, and psychologically, subliminally, it's defended when you see nothing with last year's or this year. I can't even remember what year it was, but the whole Oscars thing, like all white people or so-called white people, like that whole thing. The fact that exists, nobody can talk about it. Even if you say anything about it, oh, you're a racist. Fuck that. This shit is about power. Psychological power. And this goes back to even what I was talking about before, about pitting individuals or humanity up against itself in order for the robots, the artificial intelligence, to maintain a power. So if we start looking at this as artificial intelligence versus creative intelligence, so we can, or organic intelligence, so we can start to further understand how deep this program goes, and just to use the program to eat itself, just to understand it even more, and take it out of the whole race program and all this other shit, because this goes into our very existence. Like, when we need to be certified upon birth by a corporation, there's a fucking problem there. There's magic there. You are monetized within this fiat currency system, within the maritime admiralty system. This shit is fucked up on so many levels. And we can start changing this shit by understanding that how fucked up it is at first, and then being able to be like, well, you're not certifying my baby. You're not certifying shit. Start there and start to create your own, like, life records, like a Earth life record or some shit like that. Like something that just records life, but you're taking the magic away and having it be equivalent to what a birth certificate is. Like, create a more organic version of what this stuff is equivalent to, and then it will take the magic away and put the power back into our... It'll also help us understand shit, but if we have like a life record, like a Earth life record, or just a record just showing like mother and father, just the basic shit, the same shit that's on there, but not cataloged as a certificate, like a certification by a corporation. Because like it says on here, when you are born, your parents register you with the government as a corporation by receiving and signing a birth certificate. In a few years, your corporation will receive a taxpayer ID number called a Social Security number. This is so you can be used as collateral for the government to acquire debt. That's right. You and your labor, time, and energy is what backs up the national debt. You are stock. So we are no different than the cows in that stinking ass field off the 5. So, I mean, this is how all these storylines are connected. We are chattel, we are catalog, we are certified by an artificial intelligence that is on a regular basis separating us from our creative intelligence, our most high, our natural harmonics, each other, our true history, our true understandings of what's going on a regular basis. And they're installing this technological future in order to maintain its our further separation and its own existence, and it's pinning us up against ourselves in order to feast off of our energy and our low vibrations. So that was basically it. I just wanted to share some of the things that are obvious out there, some of the things that we don't really pay attention to, and things that we can do outside of the distraction, the dramatization grid of the space program and the cabal and all this other shit. Like, start to shrink everything down and focus on the small things that are actually, when we look at them from a zoomed out perspective, they're really big. These are very big things that are going on, from the capitalistic system as a whole, to the birth certificates, to the school system. Like, these are all like definitely within our hands. Like, even the evolution program for an individual, for parents to sit down, really research evolution and the Big Bang stuff. And if you're talking about flat earth stuff and you're totally outside of that, and reconnecting with your creator and your angels in that whole space, then start teaching your kids this stuff, even if they go to school or even take their asses out of school. That's a fucking prison. They're sending kids up for it's an institutionalization program. So yeah. And if you still eat meat and everything, that's cool, that's on you or whatever. But there is something to the whole sentient beings there, and the sentient energy that's in there. And there's something to, obviously, meat in the fast food industry and how fucking disgusting it's like bombarded into your reality. There's something there. Like, we can't deny that there's some kind of magic, spiritually, physically, psychologically, involving that whole program. And they just use the ego of the whole vegan mentality, the extreme vegan, in order to make it like able to fight back. Like like it doesn't even. Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's so many angles, but these are some of the smaller things I just wanted to share in reference to mindsets that we can start looking into as far as shifting our own reality, that will set the foundation for a more harmonic steps, as opposed to reactionary steps waiting for a control grid to do something. That is a fucking artificial intelligence. That is an artificial intelligence. The control grid, the politics, the university system, that is an artificial intelligence that has separated us from our natural harmonics. They don't fucking matter. We were not supposed to be ignorant of their existence and that shit that's going on. But overall, once we start to tap into our organic consciousness, our organic creation, our organic nature, then that's a whole different reality. And I'm feeling more and more every day this is what the Mandela effect is showing us, as far as this split in our reality between like the synthetic reality and the and the organic reality. And it's trying to be co-opted by like the artificial new age shit and the Oprah Super Soul Sunday bullshit. And they're trying to co-opt it by getting you to focus on only certain things, but the true energy really exists not only on what you focus on, but what you are being maintained ignorant of. That other energy exists as well, and it's equally important. So these things like the birth certificate and all that other stuff, and the yeah, that's basically it. So thank you for joining me, and until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.